How you doing, friends? This is going to be a fun video for me to do. I'm out in the saw shop. Got the old fire going. Got a nice fire in there. In fact, it's warm enough I don't need to start a jacket. Really appreciate everybody showing up. That last video with Slammers 2171 J-Red took off nicely. That's because you guys got interest in this stuff. I'm so glad to see that. We have a lot of new small channels that are really starting to kick in a little bit. Tasman Kenny Fuller, he's one of them. Muffler Delete was Canada Outdoors. A bunch of them like that. I'm waiting to see what y'all do. I really am. I expect good things out of you. You know what's fun about this stuff? It's the fact that before I started a channel, I wasn't even trying to start a channel. I was actually looking up some information on a particular chainsaw, on porting, and see what somebody else has already done. I couldn't find anything. No numbers, no nothing. There was people out there building them, but they weren't sharing no info. I got a little upset about that, so you know what I did? I decided to make 3 videos to just try to share info of what I've learned over the years. And look where we're at. And there was no small chainsaw channels that was porting and giving any info and showing what they're doing. Now, there's quite a few. Some of them will do better than others. There's no question. But some of them are going to really shine down the road. Put your time in, guys. I mean it. It's worth it. It really is. And I'm so happy to see that. Anyways, let's talk about what I want to talk about. This is a beautiful, I mean beautiful. No, I didn't paint it. I don't paint saws. It's a Husky 61. Anniversary edition. See that? Isn't that nice? Normally, this is kind of buggered up for whatever reason. This is Andy's. Andy Braswell. I built a saw a year ago for him, a 268. He's a tree guy. His daughter works with him. No, she ain't no knuckle dragger. She's a young girl, petite, and works with her daddy in the tree service. So we're gonna build her this saw. This is something I've been wanting to get to for quite a while. So we're getting to this. The parts aren't here yet for it. They will be shortly. We're gonna cover a few things about this. Like the first thing is, that's got to be fixed, don't it? Can't have the dangly rope. So we're gonna do that. Boy, I'll tell you what, this is a pleasure to build, Andy. It really is. I was hoping that in this next group of parts that I've got coming in from Wolf Creek Saw Shop, that we would have the 046 steel top end for Kevin Z's 046 build. And that's coming up directly. Ryan told me. Ryan's a good guy. You want to get good parts from somebody, go to Wolf Creek Saw Shop, talk to Ryan. He'll give you great advice if you need it, help you in every way. And he gives me a hat. I don't know if you get a hat. Once in a blue moon, he's got hats. So I wear the hat. I really do. So we will be getting a Titanosil cylinder for an 046. We will be using one of them cylinders in this saw, I believe. Let's see what this one's like. I got an idea this one might be a good cylinder. We'll figure out which way we're going to go with this. But the one thing we're going to have to do, let's lift the lid. We got to know what carburetor we're dealing with. That's important to me. Some of these 61s had pretty good carbs. And I ran into them. These were old enough that if a carb fails, somebody will just put something on to fit. And I have a feeling this is a nice enough saw that it's not going to be a problem. I got an idea it's the right carburetor for the saw. And I haven't done one of these blacktops yet. And I've only done one other 61 in the last recent years. And that was a nice running saw. We went to a good home, farming folk. It didn't even burn on the inside. That should have been burned on the inside. Don't tell me I'm going to have to start that air compressor. My air compressor sits in a cold shop. Well, you know, they got 30 weight oil in them. And in the winter, I run 10 weight. I don't like starting that. It's kind of cold outside. I don't like starting that when it's real cold. There is some things about these 61s that when you build them, you got to know. You got to use that 61 air horn. See that? You have to use that. Or one just like it. You see if I can actually see what number we got. You know what's funny? Some of you guys got these carb numbers all memorized. I don't. I really don't. I look at it and say, well, it's this size or that size, or I need a bigger one, or I just know that I can do better, you know, something like that. I am going to have to start that compressor, boy. I don't want to do that. It, plenty of oil around everything. That makes me just a bit nervous. More oil than I would expect. So that might be a thing. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'll show you. Look at all that oil. I've had Fords like that. Oh, goodness. But I thought maybe we should pull this muffler. Well, that was interesting. There was definitely some oil coming out of the muffler, wasn't there? That's a rather unique muffler, isn't it? Let's play with something here. I have an idea. I think I have an idea. I have to. Oh, that's not going to work. I think this is something that's going to need just a bit of heat and encouragement. Oh, maybe I'll get one of them. The one big trick to building a good saw is you got to get the heat out of it. If you have a restrictive muffler, which this one kind of is, you got to do something about it. Sometimes it isn't a lot, but you got to do something about it. I think somebody tried to put the wrong screws in, is what they did. I've actually, don't believe I've seen one of these quite like this before. It's got this extra baffle. It's got your opening, and there we're supposed to be. Then it's got this baffle. This covers it. Now, what would be wrong? What would be wrong with working? Oh, that's not a hole back in there. That's not a hole. It just shoves the air out there. And then it's got this little ding thingy here. Let me get a light. Maybe I can work with this muffler, huh? See that? It's just a baffle. There's no hole in there. Well, this is kind of interesting. I haven't seen this. No, I have not. No, I have not had one of these here. Not like that. So, seeing how that's put together, that would kind of make a little more sense turning it that way. But I think it needs a little more than just that, don't you? Okay. Let's just get a general opinion of what this cylinder's like. We have some scoring, and this is a fairly new saw. For an old saw, we have some scoring. Let's just dig a little deeper. When you get into these old saws like this, you know, I don't know what the manufacturing date is exactly, but it's not, I think around 92 or something maybe. You get into some, let's call it puzzle saw things, and you have to be careful what you do here. Like, you'll notice these bolts they're like the exhaust bolts on some of the other saws. They're a little bigger. Everything's a little different. Just get used to what you're doing. If you are using the 272 cylinders on these, you'll find that these bolts they come with are too short. You have to get the 272 bolts. That's what you have to do. If you got a good hardware or bolt supply place, you'll go there and be able to match bolts up. What it is, they're just a little longer than the OEM for the 272. But because you have to use this air horn, they have to be either shortened or shim them with a few small washers. A lot of times I just shim them with a few small washers. But quite honestly, the cylinder is runnable. It really isn't. It isn't a bad cylinder. It really isn't. But let's see what the future brings on this build, guys. Let's just see. The ring's not stuck. I need to bring it closer so you can see what I see, don't I? Yes, the ring on this is not stuck. There is some marks on it. Nothing to be concerned with. There's nothing I can catch with my fingernail, really. Just a little bit right there. That right there is carbon. That's what does that. Little mark right beside my thumb. Carbon does that. And this looks like it was drenched in oil, is what it looks like. This is going to be a fun build for me, quite honestly, because there's things I know about these that lets me turn them right up pretty good. This is kind of exciting for me. And I better get some paper towel and stuff down inside that right now. I'll tell you what's going to happen. If I don't, see, that would have been nice to blow all that out. You'll get some of it before I took the cylinder off, but I didn't this time. It really isn't going to make a whole lot of difference because of what I'm doing here. We have to check the bearings. If they're not perfect, we'll put new bearings in it, new seals. Probably do the seals anyway, but although I don't think I'll need them. Sometimes on these old saws, guys, that flywheel size seal will be dry. If the saw hasn't run in a long time, you might want to just go ahead and put that one in just to see where you're at. And we may do, let's see how this clutch reacts. I may do a clutch upgrade on this one. I'm not sure yet. We'll just find out. This is going to be a fun build, ain't it? Okay, here's the requirements for this saw because it's a young girl. Now, I'll tell you what, I got an idea. She's pretty rugged for her size. But this is going to be her first saw. And like I said, she works with her dad. I'm not building a high compression saw out of this. You don't have to have a lot of compression to make a good saw. Contrary to opinion, you don't have to. And this is going to be proof of it. Actually, Slammer's 2171 is a low compression build. I built that for him. He has a shoulder axe up once in a while. And when he's running saw, it's shut it off, turn it on, shut it off, turn it on. You know what it's like if you're saddled with too much compression and you're constantly fighting it. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. So if you like the way a 2171 runs at 70 cc's, that really is 70 cc's. That is a factory stock bore. It's a factory cylinder, actually, with a CCC, Dave Smith, thank you, buddy, piston. It is a forged bicycle with a single ring. So right there's proof. You don't need bagfuls of compression. Is it nice? Oh yeah, you'll gain some torque. But them ring zingers are actually the ones I build that are really wick right up. Every one of them's low compression. I'm gonna tell you that right now. In fact, I would almost accuse some saws that a high compression slows the saw up. Nah, no joke. Other saws turns them into orangutans. It depends on what you're dealing with, really. I'm kind of actually playing with a thought here. And I just want to see. Okay. Let me show you a little something. Tin Man was right. The blacktop top is taller, like the 272. This is a 272 cylinder. That blacktop goes right on there just like a glove. I will guarantee you the white top don't. You have to cut a little hole right here in this area and just slightly into the round here, right in that area for the end of the spark plug boot to come out. This is what you got to do in the white tops. But that was right. Thanks, Tin Man. I didn't know that. I've never had a blacktop here before. But when I watch what you guys do on your channels, believe me, the old Tin Man, he's a tricky guy, trust me. And if you think he can't build a saw, you're wrong. You are dead wrong. He's one of the young ones that, he's had a channel, actually, I think longer than mine, but he really took off because he earned it. This is what will happen to you smaller channels, too. You get on the right game, and you start making proven saws, people notice. They won't say a word to you if you suck. They won't. But if you're doing good, you're going to find out real fast because you gain subscribers. People want to see success. And they will follow somebody that builds successful saws. Saws that they would like to own themselves. Then they'll catch up with you. That's all you got to do. Okay, I'm really happy about that. I knew Tin Man was right anyway. So, there you go. Now, there is a considerable bore difference between that and that. Believe me, there is quite a bit of difference in that. I took my rags back out. Oh, my goodness sakes, them bearings. Oh, them bearings. They're just as smooth as you could possibly get. I mean, incredibly smooth. Okay, now I'm excited. Boy, I can't wait. This is going to be a pretty upfront, fast and dirty build. This is not a long-term project like some of them are. Some of them steels, you really get into them deep. and they're time consuming. And I love building them, but they are time consuming. And once in a while, the 372s, I'll end up being just a little time consuming also. So there you go. But one thing I do want to do while I got you guys' attention, I'm going to pull the starter cover off. Boy, I don't think these bolts ever been off of this. I'm not kidding. I don't see a mark on them. Impressive. Boy, I put this stuff in little well, this is a big Ziploc bag. I've done so many of these, I put most everything all in one bag. Boy, the bottom of the saw is just immaculately clean. It really is. I built one of these for a white top for Robert Ramston. Hi, Robert. How you doing if you're still watching? It worked out quite nice for him. It really did. And I think it surprised him a little. And he sent me some videos of him running it. And that's what I like. I don't hear back a lot of times from people I built for. But you already know I rarely take a saw build anymore from somebody because I can't hardly stay ahead of what I already got here. I plan on having quite a bit of time this winter in the shop because I prepared myself this spring and summer for success, meaning I have less to do in the winter. Other than we're going to be cutting firewood all winter, so we get in the run saws, so that's kind of nice. Okay, this is a sure tell on how much time's on this saw. See these notches? Saw's been around a lot. They're gold. They're gold right in there. This one is perfect, but a surprising amount of oil around it. And these have a coil, which is right here behind the handle that I haven't took off yet. And this is a crank trigger that fires it. The 266 has that. I know I've had people ask me in the past, well, how do you get a more modern coil in it? Don't mess with it. You can still get these crank triggers and coils. You can. And you want a crank trigger. Crank trigger, in my opinion, is the way to go. It will absolutely fire every time in the right spot. And I'm not saying coils don't, because they do pretty good, but this is something I really, really like to see. But what I got to do, because I can't handle it, is this rope. I'm going to rewind that so it isn't like this anymore, because I don't like that. I ought to just show you how I do this, hadn't I? I cut this has been tied back already once. At some point, somebody put a rope in it, or they had it break, or whatever. Just pulled my handle off. Suck it back through, and get to the end. Boy, hang on that booger, I mean it. Okay. Now, I'm trying to do this so that I'm winding it tighter is what I'm doing. And I'm trying to do this where I don't, it's got a lot of rope on it, I can tell you that. I'm trying to give that another wound. That's what I'm really trying to do. And I did it. I got another wound. I wonder if I need one more. Let's see, I'll take that Springfield. There we go. Okay. Like I said, you keep a hold of that. I gave that 2 winds. Now I'm going to just release that slowly. Okay. Now it's starting to suck up the rope. You can see. I didn't take this apart. I didn't want to. Okay. Now I'm just going to poke it back through the hole. I'm going to take my gum lighter, burn my rope. This is the part that hurts if you got tender hands. It doesn't bother me any. If you get that tight enough, which I don't think I did the first shot, that'll go right on through there again. There, I did get it right. Hard to believe. Things you can do easily off camera, not so easy on camera. Okay. Don't get too much tension on your rope. Just get it like that and just keep rolling it to the end. Nice and tight. If you're not used to doing it, don't try to get it that close. There, how you like that? I'm sorry, I dropped you. Like I said, a lot of times, little stuff that's easy to do, when you turn a camera on, it is going to mess up on you like you don't know. But that actually worked, didn't it? The one thing I need to do is see what happened here. See that? That's an easy fix. You'll wind it all the way back out. Till it does that, it sucks itself back in. You know what? We need another wind. Okay, so I should have went 3 winds. I got it down to just where it's limp, not dangle. We don't like dangle, but I don't like this either. That needs 1 more wind. This is what you run into with this stuff, guys, I promise. Okay, something I forgot to show you when you're doing this. You have a notch in these. See that notch? Pull your rope all the way out. Get it in that notch. Like that. Okay? And then get your extra wind. The lovely things, when you get them tight, you know it. They're actually rather tight. Okay, let's just see if that's enough. I need 1 more wind. That was right back where I started, I think. I'd rather wrap that rope around that post, and it helps me turn it. Okay. Now, when you got oil in your hands, like I do, okay, now let's try that again. All I gotta do is Wind that sucker back in. And then we got it, see? No more tension in that, just so it drops back in. That's how you know how much tension, just where it holds it in nicely. Okay, that's it for today's video. Thank you. Goodbye.